Hello and welcome in Data-Driven Decision Making Podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what are you doing?
Hi, Lucas. Yes, of course. My name is Miguel Pérez Colino. I'm working at SUSE. I'm product manager. I'm taking care of product management at SUSE. I'm the general manager for Linux business unit. And I started as a sysadmin. So this is like the Marines. Once a sysadmin, always a sysadmin. So let's say that I'm a sysadmin that evolved into product management.
And what are you doing right now?
Well, we're taking care of all the Linux products that we have at SUSE. We have, of course, the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. That is our foundational product. That is also one of our flagships. I mean, we also have Rancher, which is another flagship and another really cool product. I mean, and you put them together, it's pretty amazing. And we have other products around it. Like, for example, we have MLS, which is a support offering for customers who are using other enterprise Linux, like CentOS, for example. Also, we have my favorite, is I love SUSE Linux. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's the most important product, but Multi-Linux Manager is a tool to manage all kind of Linuxes, including SUSEs. So if you have any other Linux, you can manage it with it. And it's a really fun product to work with. Same as SUSE Linux, of course. But this one has got a bit of my heart.
Okay. And why?
Well, when you're working with Linux, you start with one or two virtual machines and you start doing things and you start learning on how to manage things and how to secure things and how to encrypt the disk and whatnot. And suddenly you start working with Linux and you start having more and more servers and more services, and you cannot fail that easily, You have to keep things running. 1 minute of downtime starts becoming tens of thousands of euros or dollars, then hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars. And this way it's when you learn, okay, I have to systematize everything, okay? I have to be very systematic. And then how do I manage 1,000 machines? Can I manage 10,000 machines? What about 100,000 machines? So this is when you realize, first, the minor issues and the minor inconsistencies, the minor things that are like not important when you're managing a very small fleet become unsurmountable issues when you grow the infrastructure that you're managing. And therefore, this is when you have to figure it out. And when you start working with this tool, with Multi-Linux Manager, suddenly everything becomes so much easier because it really takes care of those little tiny things that become unsurmountable problems when you go scale. So it's the way you become like professional, going from I'm playing with a couple of Linuxes here to I really want to do things the professional way and keeping things running in a very reliable manner. So, of course, if you start with a good foundation like SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, you're already starting on the right foot. But how you manage it is also important for everything to be running nicely.
Can you tell us a little bit more about clients you guys have? Basically, how are you helping them?
Well, we have a page for success stories. So I'm going to mention some customers that are public success stories. I've worked a lot with a supermarket chain in Switzerland called Coop. And those are really nice folks. Okay, I really like working with them. And they started with the shops, and they have a very highly distributed environment. And of course, data management there. I mean, can you imagine the amount of tickets that are getting there? All those tickets have to be processed. All those tickets have to be on time. All these transactions have to be finished. And the transactions have to be consistent. So having this infrastructure fully distributed, thousands of jobs, is one of those things that is a really beautiful challenge for technology. And with them, working together, we have managed to do it. And we have managed to handle around 20,000 devices with one single Multi-Linux Manager server. All these devices running SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, the point of sale version. And in some cases not, because sometimes you have servers distributed in those remote locations. But this is one of those beautiful use cases. I mean, we have other customers like Microsoft is a customer. Microsoft a bit.
Give me a minute. Yeah, I think I heard about that.
We have other customers like BMW, and we are so proud to be. We have been a good partner with BMW for years and years and years and years, and they are one of those customers that they are always there. They always like to try the latest and greatest, and they are always pushing us to the limits. And one last story that I think could be interesting about data management at a scale, for example, is that we have this customer, also another success story, Coca-Cola North America. They handle all the distribution of Coca-Cola in North America, and that is a lot of bottles.
Yeah.
So And we were working together with Azure. And the thing is that the machines that they had were like a bit, we needed something bigger. We ended up working with Azure in having 32 terabyte machines of memory, 32 terabytes of memory. That's like 20 days of 4K video going into memory and not filling it up. Okay, so it's brutal. What we did there was like incredible. And now Azure is knocking on our door to see if we can increase that limit, to see if we can go further. So this is what we do. We provide the layer, the foundational layer for anybody to manage data securely.
And how are you approaching this kind of projects, like from the beginning and to the end, like how this project is managed and how are you delivering the results?
Wow, that is a very long story.
Yeah.
But let me summarize it, okay? SUSE is all about open source. It's an open source company, and we are very proud to say we are an open source company. We follow the open source ethos. We share our code. We hide nothing when it comes to code, when it comes to building, when it comes to testing. So anybody could audit ourselves. Recently, we managed to get what I call the Michelin star. You know, I come from a family that used to work on restaurants and have restaurants. So for me, Michelin star is like the biggest thing ever. So we earned the Michelin star for open source, which is we are SUSE Linux Enterprise Server is considered digital public good. This is delivered by the Digital Public Good Alliance, which is backed by United Nations. So, okay. United Nations, one of their organisms saying that we are digital public good, that we are open. That is like, again, like we need the Michelin star. So this is what we do. We collect all these open source projects, we make them consistent, we put them together, and we build distributions. But not only distributions, we also do it for other projects, multi-Linux Manager, other projects that is getting like, this tool from here, this tool from here, this tool from here, we put them together and we cover this set of use cases that are common for these people, you know? Rancher does something similar. We get the upstream code from Kubernetes and we add some additions, you know, like for example, have a stack state, which is now, it is observability. We have security tools, new vector, we acquired it, is now SUSE Security. We add KubeVirt to be able to provide the virtualization. So we put them together, we make them consistent. And I have a friend who is an engineer, Anna Mareskova, who always says, oh, the hardest part is maintenance. So that's it. That's what we do. That's the value that we offer. We maintain this software free of bugs wherever we can, free of security issues whenever we can. I mean, you know, this is like a race. So you have to always be chasing it. So we do our best to keep everything as secure and nice and well-maintained as possible with the highest quality that we can. So this is what we provide.
Nice. And why are you different from other, you know, open source projects, like, for example, Red Hat or some?
Well, there are quite some differences, but let me focus on two of them. Okay, one of them is that we were founded in Germany and we have deep roots in Germany. We are a worldwide company. Okay, we have customers in the United States, Singapore, Japan, you name it, Korea, South Africa. I was talking to a customer in South Africa today. South America, my good friends, I always say Spaniards, always say like our cousins in South America, Central America, all Latin America. So we have customers like all around the globe. Okay. But the roots are in Germany, and this helps a lot because we work a lot with the German public sector, and they are very strict. Okay, and their security requirements and their regulatory requirements are very strict. So when we manage, I mean, working with them very closely, as a company was founded and born in Germany, help us achieve those security levels that are like highest in the industry. One example, our SUSE Linux Enterprise Server has the certification Common Criteria EAL 4+. No other Linux in the market has it. So that's one of the things that we managed to do. Yeah. The second part is open, like completely open. So the build process is open, the test process is open, and of course the code is open. So what do? We have something called OpenQA. That is a QA system that we use to test what we are building. And this is open. You can go in there, you can propose a test. Of course, it will follow the peer review that we do in open source every time. And if your test gets accepted, then that test is going to be run on every Linux release that we publish. Okay. Now we have also the build system, open build system. The build system is what builds all the packages that we're using. So there's a tiny project that is more or less well known that uses this build system for their own binaries, which is called Kubernetes. You know that project? Just kidding. So yes, so the Kubernetes projects, the upstream binaries are built with our build system because, I mean, it's open, because it works, because it has a lot of qualities, It's been evolving in time. We value maturity a lot because maturity provides reliability. So we evolve our products, but we try to keep the maturity, what makes them really, really solid. That means that the quality of our products is really high. It's one of the things I'm very proud of, the quality of what we deliver.
I think you guys have some kind of conference in upcoming months. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we have SUSECon. This is our yearly conference. We meet there. I mean, it's a mix a bit of everything. Okay, so I think I say that when you go to SUSECon, every person has its own SUSECon. Okay, if you're a technical person, want to get the latest and greatest from people in engineering, from people in product management, from people in pre-sales. I mean, there's going to be, everybody's going to be represented there. So if you want something technical, you can get something technical. You can even go and take some tests to get certifications there. Okay, so to go there is like, let's get a test and end up with a certification, which is super cool. But on the other hand, if you're going there to do business, to learn about something new, to even review products for you, to be able to improve what you're doing in your business, to be more effective, to be more competitive, you can find it there too. So it's a mix of everything. It's a smorgasbord, like this from Sweden that has a bit of everything. So it's a smorgasbord of what we do at SUSE with customers from all around the globe. This year, on top of that, is in Prague, which is such a nice city. It's such a nice people there, and also the food and drinks, a great beer in the Czech Republic is always something that is worth trying if you like beer, of course. So yeah.
That's awesome. Also, like, if someone would like to start cooperation with you, like with your company, like how we should approach this, like they should contact someone from your side. You have some kind of contact form they could fill out, like how they could approach something like that.
So we normally form communities that are open and that are welcoming to people. We try to make them as welcoming to people as possible, but that depends on people. Somebody can have a bad day, of course. But in general, our communities are very welcoming. And for example, products I'm working with, SUSE Linux, okay? You have the OpenSUSE community. You can join the OpenSUSE community. You can download OpenSUSE Leap and try OpenSUSE. OpenSUSE Leap and SLS are like brothers, separated at birth, So if you want to try something on SUSE Linux, but you don't want to be registering your system or whatever, you can always use OpenSUSE Leap. So if it works on Leap, it works on SLS, okay? With the exception of registering to the SUSE Customer Center. And then that community, you join it, you start reviewing things. Many times what you can start doing is just checking, okay, let's check this back, let's check this documentation, let's add this documentation, let's follow up on this project, and you start learning. So one of the beauties of open source is that all the code is there and you can learn it. And it's easy for you to, easy or difficult. I mean, depending on how deep you go. If you want to work on the kernel modules, that is going to take a bit of effort, But sometimes just reviewing the Unity scripts or some other thing could be very easy. One example, there's another community, Ujuni, for Multi-Linux Manager. When I joined SUSE, I joined the Ujuni community at the same time. And on my first week, I was playing with Ujuni, and I realized there was a race condition between two services being started by systemd. And I realized again that if one of the services was a bit too slow, then the whole application wouldn't start. Okay, so I submitted a patch. Nobody knew me by then. And the patch got reviewed and got merged. And I was like, wow, this is so nice. I open an issue, I find the issue, I describe the issue, then I write the patch, then I submit the patch gets reviewed and gets merged. So I got code myself that I'm not really, I'm a product management. I'm not used to go programming all day long. But if you can find an issue like those and you want to submit a patch, you can always go and do it.
And why do you think like people should get involved in open source in general? What the reasons could be?
For me, it was the joy of learning. I have this and I can open. Try to imagine you have a car and you cannot open the hood. You open the hood and the first time it's like, what is this? And then, that is the plug. Those are the cylinders. This is the distribution. This and that. And then you start playing with it. The thing about Linux or Udemy or all the projects that we do is that you can get in there and start learning. For me and for many other people, became also a professional trajectory. Okay, that learning is valuable. Somebody wants to people that has that learning. So you start there with your curiosity, with just playing and having fun, and then it starts growing and growing and growing on you. And especially if you love it or enjoy it, like I do, it becomes like, okay, now I'm valuable. People want to hire me because of this knowledge. Okay, this is great, So I'm working in something that I enjoy, something that I love, and I think that other people could do it too. And this could be interesting again for people for the joy of learning. Sometimes.
Awesome.
That's it.
Okay. So I'm also wondering, what do you think will happen in upcoming years in the terms of new technologies? Do you think AI will take over the world? Will be fighting for survival, or maybe something entirely different will happen? What's your thoughts about that?
Well, one of the beautiful things of being at SUSE is that I work with a lot of people who are not just technically incredible, but also very ethical aware. So the ethics of AI is going to be one of those things that are going to we will have to keep an eye on that. Okay. Now, how we are going to be using AI? AI is exploding. Like last week there were 2 releases from ChatGPT and from Claude, and the one from Claude had this thing that they used AI to build AI. So we are completing the cycle in which AI can improve itself. And that is like, okay, this is serious.
Yeah.
Let's take it serious. So I don't know how far is this going to get, but it looks like it's going to be one of the biggest changes since internet. Okay, internet was a very constructive change because it provided us like a neural network to connect people. Okay, so it became like a hyperconnectivity vehicle for people. But this is going to be much more disruptive because it can do things. It's not just an enabler. It really is something that can really execute on things. So the approach we're following here is like following the open source approach. Okay, there are language models out there that are open, and we are packaging them for people so they can use them. We have called them SUSE AI just in case you want to use them in environments with very restrictive data. Okay, and again, how sovereign do you want to be? How careful do you have to be with your data? What are your restrictions? How is it going to impact you? So we can see companies that are going to, everybody's going to be using AI, okay, because it's such an enabler that if you don't use it, you are going to become non-competitive very quickly. So we are using AI at SUSE, okay, for our work. When it comes to code, we still review everything on our own, keeping things clean for legal reasons. And we are evaluating all those legal reasons and seeing how we can do it properly. But the thing is that we are using AI, we are providing AI. We think that AI should be on your own rules, and to be on your own rules, it has to be open source. But that is going to be a game changer. It's already a game changer. So we all have to be there.
And what about using AI in your personal slash professional life? Like how you are making yourself better, faster by using AI?
Thanks for asking. No, look, open source is not only about the source code, it's also about the standards. Okay, I learned that quite well when I was working in defense. In one of the jobs I had in my past, that open standards are the key to interoperability. So some in 2024, I think it was November 2024, I might be wrong, we might need to check it. Anthropic released a standard called MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is an open standard to connect anything to AI and AI to anything. Okay, and what we have done is to implement this standard, the MCP protocol, in several products. The first product to have it is SUSE Linux Enterprise Server 16. Has a tool called MCP host. It's super easy. Super install MCP host. You get it installed, and then you can provide access, for example, read-only access to etc to get the configuration files, read-only access to /proc to see the processes of what is going on in the system, read-only access to var log to get access to the logs, and then you can ask AI what is going on in my system. You have installed Tomcat, you have installed Java, you have this application running, but you have an issue here. Okay, and then you check, and instead of going through the logs yourself, it can help you go through the logs, and then you can say, okay, better write an Ansible playbook to make this change. It will generate, and then you can execute. So we want to make this process like more streamlined, and we are working on something we call universal proxy, that you can connect all these AI connectors and to an LLM, to a large language model, and you can verify the changes before applying them. So we want to have the human in the loop wherever we execute, so that you can have agentic AI, but with control, with human control on it. That is more or less the approach that we're following in adding AI to our products.
And finally, like based on your experience, what advice would you give others looking to use open source more efficiently in their businesses, like from your experience?
So if you're studying, if you're in the university or in high school even, it's like learn. And to learn, go to the code, play with things, learn, okay? All this foundational knowledge will help you understand how things work. And even if you end up doing only prompts, understanding how things work makes you create better prompts. So even if everything is built by at some point in time, knowing how things work will help you to prepare to get better outputs. So,
awesome.
And also sometimes for as I say, the joy of learning. For some people who are already in companies, it's like, okay, how can you become more effective? Okay, how can you become more effective and not be tied to a specific technology or vendor? Okay, that's one of the things that provides open source. Open source provides little to no lock-in, and I say little to no lock-in because I always say that the exit costs is what you have to consider when you realize how locked in am I. Okay, how difficult would it be for me to change?
Yeah.
So having open source technologies reduces this and the way we do it, especially open with everything out there, is like as close to no lock-in as it's possible. Again, zero is impossible. Like security, zero issues all the time is impossible. Sometimes you will have an issue, you have to patch. So same idea. So this is what I would suggest people, like, try it. Okay, try this technology, try it, and review how open are you, how in control you are of what you are managing. And of course, get support from all the tools that you can have, like for example AI. To do your job more efficiently, and keep the curiosity alive. Keep that flame, that spark of curiosity alive to keep bringing things good for your own business, your own company, or even your own life, to enjoy what you're doing. So that would be it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering all my questions during Data-Driven Decision Making podcast and being my awesome guest today.
Thanks to you, Lucas, for having me here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here talking to you and listening to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will just stop the recording right now.